for starters, what are the things which you need when you're going to go into the desert? We'll talk about only the sand. Even if it is on a low key, the first thing which you need is a shovel. You need a tow rope. Now, a tow rope is not a plain rope. It needs to be of like a bungee cord. It needs to have a tension so that when you pull it, the kinetic energy when it's released is going to pull you outside your stuck zone. So you need to have something like that. And then you will need to have a jack. You will need to have a wood piece because it's sand. And if you had a flat tire or a pop-out tire, you will need to lift your car. So that's why you would need to have a wood. Otherwise, you can't place your sand. Or you can even have, you in the market today, you get you get pedestals which you can keep on the ground with, which you can do that. You also have differential jacks, but then they need to be carried along with the car, but that's a heavier proposition. You need a whole toolkit set. You'd also need oils because you do not know what you can hit and what you can drain. So you should have a bit of engine oil, you should have a bit of brake oil and coolant. Now again, comes back to this guy with his open bonnet. My initial days of the Jeep before I could modify it with a higher grade of cooling fans, I used to carry coolant with me because it will use a lot of coolant. So basically all your fluids, the safety equipment, these need to be with you. And not to forget a safety kit, first aid kit. That's also something which can come in handy because a first aid kit will not only in case of a serious thing, even when you are changing your tire, you can cut your finger. If anything, you need a first aid kit for that. So that's also a part of your of your safety. So these things need to be with you in your car. And if you're going off the road, a flag is a must. The reason for the flag is that if you're going down a dune, the person who's on the top can see that you're there. Otherwise, nobody will know you're down. So that's the reason you need a flag.
Right.
And it should be of a sizable height so that it is visible. Right. So that's the thing. Normally, you'd look at a flag and you think it bounces around. That's why it looks nice. And the reason for a flag is so somebody knows that you're there. It's sort of an identification. So these are the basic items which you would have in your car. Even if you're going for a low level off-road. Let's say let's say an introduction level or a newbie level. These are the things which you should have.
Right. And sorry, you were saying.
Yeah, and also you need to ensure that your car is in a completely off-roadable situation, that it's completely mechanically safe. It's been checked. You have tow hitches both in the front and on the rear. Because tow hitches from the factory at some period of time may not be
up to the mark.
Up to the mark. So you may have to reinforce that. So these are some things of the basics which you need, which do not cost you much money at all. It's hardly anything on your pocket, but allows you to get there.
Right.
And once you're there, then you can move forward. So a pop-out is a situation where now we have deflated our tires. So now your walls are got less air in them.
Right.
Yeah. So that's the distance. That's the between your tire and the alloy. They have got less pressure against it. So when you are turning, you're putting more pressure onto the wall.
Right.
So which can enable your wheel to come out, the tire to come out of your wheel. So this situation is called a pop-out. So what you would do is you would put in, once you're stuck over there, you dig the floor, dig the sand out. That's why the wood which we need, because you can't place your jack on plain sand. That's why you need either a piece of wood or you need those pedestals where you can keep your jack. And if your car's lifted, then you need even a bit more
bigger space,
a bit higher jack. And then once you lift your wheels up, you would of course remove your sand out and then you'd fill in air. So air compressor is also something, if you're going into the desert, which is a handy tool. And an air compressor can come in handy for many other things. Like for example, I go cycling sometimes with the family. So the air compressor comes good and handy there. So that's when you can use your onboard air compressor to fill in air. you do have on board, or you can carry a compressor on your own.
Right.
So this is what you need to have in your car.